it's Erin. I'm back with another creative journal, and this time I'm doing the social penetration theory. This theory has 4 assumptions. The first one, that relationships move from non-intimate to intimate. So basically a relationship moves from not knowing much to knowing a lot. The second assumption is that relationship development is systematic and predictable. This means the relationship goes through stages and those stages are easily predictable. You can guess what's going to go on in those stages. The third assumption is that relationships include dissolution and depenetration. This means that relationships will eventually fall apart, grow distant, they'll become less involved in their life, kind of what happens over the lifetime of a relationship. The last assumption is that self-disclosure is at the heart of a relationship. That means that those secrets that you keep inside, when you let other people know, that's at the heart of the relationship, letting others in, letting them know your big secrets. There are 2 dimensions to social penetration theory. One is breadth and the other one's depth. The authors of this theory use the metaphor of an onion. So when you think of an onion, you think of all these layers that the onion's had. Breadth is the amount of topics there are. That's how many things you can talk about. And depth is how deep you talk about those topics, so how personal you get. So with the onion metaphor, they think that a relationship, the more intimate it gets, the more of these topics you have, the more you start peeling away. The more into the core of the onion you get by peeling away these layers of all these script-like behaviors and all these depth of topics. The theory includes 4 stages of a relationship. The first one is orientation. This one is totally just acquaintances. So that's when you're starting to get to know each other, know your characteristics, your likes and dislikes and all that. The second stage is the exploratory affective exchange stage. This is kind of like your classmates, your friends that you're not like best friends or good friends with. This is kind of when you have an affective relationship. You know each other, not like super well, but you're on a name basis, you're getting to know each other very well. In this stage, communication becomes spontaneous, meaning you don't have those script-like behaviors. You kind of go off script and you start talking about things that you would like to talk about. Some relationships you have will go into the further 2 stages. Most of them will stay in this stage of just the decent friends, and some of them won't even leave the orientation phase. It all depends on the person. The third stage is the affective exchange stage. This I would classify as your best friends. These are the people that know you pretty well, you've got pretty intimate, you've gotten a lot of that depth, but you're not super intimate. You both make miscommunications, you both interpret each other wrong sometimes. So like the best friends, but you still kind of get in arguments. Also in this stage, you don't have a fear of messing up the relationship. There's no fear of if I say something or if I do something wrong, they're gonna leave. This stage you're most comfortable in. You don't have any fears that the relationship's gonna break up for any reason. The last stage is the stable stage. It's usually between married partners or really close family members. Not even sometimes those relationships get into this. This stage is classified as no miscommunications. You know each other so well that you can communicate super effectively. You know how each other talk, you know what you do with different feelings and emotions. You can read each other so well. You don't have those little miscommunication, oh I thought you meant this but you actually meant this. None of that is in the stable stage of a relationship. This is the stage of relationship you always want to aim for. You want to aim to not have miscommunication so often, but very few relationships make it to this level. To explore this theory, I asked my 2 really good friends, Kruti and Ashlyn, who have been almost like sisters to me these last 2 years at Texas State. I asked them to talk about their relationship together. They've been friends since high school and they came to Texas State together and they're rooming together. So I thought that they'd be a good person to interview about how their life has been, what have they done, and how they think they're going to be changing. Hello, today I have my friends Kruti and Ashlyn. They've been friends for a very long time and I'm going to ask them questions about their relationship. These first couple of questions I ask are for me trying to figure out their movement from a non-intimate relationship to an intimate relationship. So I asked them questions about how they first met, what were their first impressions of each other, when did they become friends, to show that relationships move from non-intimate to being strangers, from intimate to being good friends. Okay, so when did y'all guys first meet? What were your first impressions of each other?
Sophomore year. Yeah, sophomore year of high school. Do you want to go first or do you want me to?
You go first.
Okay, well, crew team moved from a different country, which I thought was really, really cool. And so we had history class together, but she wouldn't talk to anyone. So I didn't want to go up and talk to her because I thought I'd make her uncomfortable. And so I sat next to her and I would stare at her because I was like, if I stare at you, you'll look at me. And when you look at me, then I'll talk to you. But she never did. She'd just sit there like this. And so I ended up having her sister for math class. And her sister was very talkative. And so I ended up talking with her and inviting her to lunch. And so she asked, hey, can my sister come too? And so then her and her sister would eat lunch with me and my friends during lunchtime, of course, because it's lunch. And she was still very quiet. She got to where she'd like look at me and kind of talk, but I just thought that she was really shy and didn't want to talk to anyone. She would laugh and stuff, but she was mostly quiet, which was okay because I talked to her sister. But yeah, I just thought she was shy,
So what was your first impression of Crew T?
that she was shy.
Did that mean anything besides shy, or?
I mean, she seemed really sweet and like really nice because she was really soft-spoken and she would laugh and like be nice to people and yeah.
Crew T's turn.
Okay, I was really afraid because I just moved. I was afraid of her, honestly. Like the history class, okay, second period, I would just be sitting, I would sit at the very first bench, so like close to the teacher, and this girl sitting next to me or behind me would just like stare at me, and I'm over here like, why is she staring at me, and does she not like me? Am I too Indian for her? Or whatever?
She's so racist.
You're racist. Well, I thought you were racist. I thought you were racist.
She thought I was racist?
Yeah, because she looked at me and was like, why is she staring at me? She probably hates me. Like, why? She probably think like, why am I here? Or something.
I didn't even know you.
Then you stared at me like that. Like that. So I was scared. I was like, oh, she hates me. And then my sister told me that we're gonna eat lunch with her. And I was just like, why?
Okay, eat lunch with the racist!
Stares at people.
Yeah, but after that, like, as soon as she started talking and, you know, she was really nice and sweet. So I'm like, okay, she just, I don't know why she would stare at me. But okay, she seems like a pretty sweet girl. And then we started talking. I asked her a question about history, like when homework, when I missed the class, and she told me all about it, and she helped me with it. Remember that?
I
That little
don't
map
remember.
thing that Mrs. Thompson gave us, and I
I
asked, was like, what? Yeah, because
I
I didn't know what to do. I'm like, I barely know English.
love maps. So I helped her because I love maps.
Yeah.
So you guys started out kind of like a in-class friends, like we'll help each other out.
It was mostly through her sister we became friends because I
Yes.
became friends with her sister like right away because we had math class together and she would talk and so I would talk and we'd always be the last people to leave class.
Okay.
And then through her sister we would eat lunch and then it was mostly in class. Oh, we'll be, you know, like
Yeah.
help each other out. And
I wouldn't
sit
talk to
together
anyone
kind of
though.
thing.
I would only talk to this one foreign exchange student from China. Her name was Lisa. And I was friends with her, and I would only hang out with her and talk to her. And anybody else, I would just like, hi, hello, and then just like ask question, and then that's it. My whole sophomore year was like that.
So when did you guys become better friends?
Junior year.
Junior year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, when was that?
Well, I didn't have class with her sister anymore, but I ended up having almost every class with her
almost.
except
like
for like two.
Two, yeah.
One or two. Except for like two classes. And so I guess because we were literally spending the whole day, 5 days a week together, that we ended up becoming more like friends. Because it wasn't just, oh, we have one class together so we'll help each other out. It was kind of, oh, we have every class together and we eat lunch together. And so it was...
I would feel more comfortable around you than other people. Like there were two of the guys who were like, oh, I can't say that. Really bad. And was not nice, you know? So they were in the class, like most of our classes. So
Yeah.
I would sit like around her, and sometimes if they would cross the limit, then she would like speak up for me. So I
Well, they were
felt
just-
safe around her.
Well, it's just because they were just dumb.
They were dumb.
And like
Honestly.
if I'd tell them something and they'd be like, oh, and they'd say like a smart comment, but then they'd stop because they were just having fun playing around, and so I ended up being
High school boys.
really seriously.
Really
So I
grow up.
ended up becoming closer because before I was closer with her sister, but then I ended up becoming closer with her.
And my sister
Yes,
told me
but
I stole
I-
her friend. That's what my sister
I'm still
told me.
friends with her. I just don't see her as much as you.
Mhm.
So Ashlyn and Kruti moved from a non-intimate relationship to an intimate relationship. They started out as just two girls in a history class. But then Ashlyn got to know Kruti's sister, and they ate lunch together, and then they started getting to know each other. And then year afterward, they started having all of these classes together. This shows it started out as two strangers and a funny situation, moving to be two good friends. The next few questions I'm going to ask are about relationships being predictable. So I'm going to ask them a couple questions about how similar they are, how they would be friends, the different connections they're going to have, to try to see if it was predictable for them to be friends based on how close they were to each other in their school setting.
Okay. So how similar are you guys?
Mm.
It's weird.
Let me pull out the book. Where is it?
It's weird because we're similar in a lot of ways, but where we're not similar, we're complete opposites.
Yes,
Okay.
that is true.
Yeah, like she likes math and science. I like history and English. She likes. I like reading. She likes movies.
Yeah.
You know, like
Mm-hmm.
we're pretty similar. We're both pretty quiet and pretty shy. Our favorite color is both purple. Like, we have just weird stuff in common. I love
Like-
meat. She's a vegetarian. So it's like we're
That's
pretty
opposite.
similar, except our opposites are completely
Complete opposite.
different.
That's
Yeah.
kind of unique.
It's like no common thing, but we have opposite. Like three of my favorite colors, like purple, blue, and green, and that's your favorite
And that's
color.
mine,
And then
yeah.
I found that out like last year or something. Like what? That's
Which is
mine
weird.
too. I know.
How that happened, I don't know. Yeah.
So do you think there was any, like, hypothetically, is there any way that you guys could not have been friends? Like, from how you grew up in high school, was there a way that you could have, like, avoided each other or anything like that?
She was too smart for me.
No,
Well, she still is, but
you're smart too.
Does it make sense, kinda?
No, I'm a little
No, it
confused.
doesn't.
So,
I was about to ask.
No, it's okay. From both of you being in high school, you said you were in all the classes together. Does that kind of make you friends, or like
that
would-
helped.
that helped a lot?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it made us closer because if we didn't have all of our classes together, we still would have been friends, I think. But
But
I'm
not
not.
as close.
It
You probably
wouldn't have
wouldn't
been
be
as
here.
close. Yeah, we
Yeah.
ended up spending more time together because of class, and then we
Mhm.
were like, oh, let's hang out after school. So it would have been where we were friends, but not as close as we are now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It was like little things made it closer, like Disney. I didn't watch any Disney movies, so she's like, "What? We have to."
So she'd
Good to
always
start.
come over to my house, and we'd watch classic Disney movies on VHS tapes every
And I
Friday.
would always like some of the movie I would fall asleep, like Aristocats.
And that's a
Always.
great one. I don't. It's
I'm
great,
sorry.
right?
And then every 2 freaking seconds they're singing. Everything is
it's
like once upon a
Disney.
time. So like this guy is like as soon as the movie starts, once upon a time, and they will start once upon a time. or
Okay,
whatever,
that's
they would
only
start
Sleeping
singing.
Beauty. That's just Sleeping
Like,
Beauty.
Every word, there's a sentence, and then they would start singing. It's just like okay.
And then, because we'd watch Disney movies, then she'd be like, "Oh, let me show you Bollywood movies." So it would take
Yeah.
forever to find them because we'd have to get English subtitles. But once we got the English subtitles, then
Yeah.
we watched those, and those had singing and dancing.
Yeah, but it's like a 3-hour long movie.
Yeah, it was pretty long.
But when it's only like Disney movies are only hour, and they have like a lot of songs in it, so it makes me think like every 2 seconds they're singing. Okay. And
It's
that's
like
why I
her
love
rant.
Flynn
I'm
Rider.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Right? His name is Flynn?
Flynn Rider.
Yeah.
From Tangled.
Because he questioned it. I'm like, yes! Yes!
Why is everyone singing?
So it was kind of predictable that these two girls would be friends. They have a lot of similarities, and they said that their only big differences are usually the polar opposites, kind of like the math and writing. But they said that their relationship was pretty predictable, as in if they had all these classes together, and they both wanted to know each other. This kind of relates to the uncertainty reduction theory, that they're wanting to explore, and they're using their information seeking, and they're wanting to know their differences, because they're from two different parts of the world and have two different cultures. So those two cultural differences fueled the desire to get to know each other, and that's when they started figuring out similarities, and they started becoming better friends, and they started exploring each other's past and how their different family lives are. So I would say the relationship is very predictable. The girls never said this, but they grew up in a small town. I believe their graduating class was about 50. So with not many people in the town, and them having like every class together in high school, it's kind of predictable that they'll become friends, with both these girls being very smart and having that desire to want to learn about different people. If I was there, I could see these two girls becoming friends, and how different and similar they are, and I could see that fueling them wanting to be friends. The next questions I ask are all hypotheticals. I'm testing the assumptions that relationships will fall apart. And it's hard to test that because these girls are still in a relationship. They're still friends and they're still roommates. And Crew T will be moving away to Round Rock campus next year. So I guess I'm using that to fuel as in the what do you think will happen. The only way to really find out if this assumption is correct is to guess talk to people that were friends. Maybe I can keep you updated on that.
You guys always been this close? Have you ever any parts of your life where you're kind of, I guess maybe friends, not as much, and then back to being friends? Have you guys always?
Yeah, during
the
the
summer we wouldn't hang out that much.
I think this past summer we only saw each other like twice.
Yeah.
So it was really mostly school. Like high school we'd see each other. Summer not really.
Mm-hmm.
We came to college together, so we'd see each other. Summer we didn't really see each
It
other.
just kind of happened to be just because we did stuff that was common. So that's why we got closer. And then in summer we would be like with our families. So.
Yeah, and busy.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Have you done anything to risk your friendship? Have there been any situations where it's like, I don't know if we should be friends anymore?
I don't think so. I mean, we've had disagreements before, but
Yeah.
it's never been super serious to where we were like, oh, I can't be friends with you if you think that way, or if you're so different from me. So
That's
I don't
one
think
thing we're
so.
really good at is because we understand each other's opinion and we like
Yeah.
respect it. It's like I see where that came from and oh I understand, but I feel this way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we don't have conflict. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have like little disagreements, like, oh, this is my opinion, and like defend it kind of thing, but it's
Yeah.
never like hateful, like, oh,
It's like-
your opinion's wrong
Yeah.
because you're different from me or whatever. Like, it's not
That makes sense.
like bad
Big.
conflict. Yeah.
Yeah. Big. It's
Not
like,
big.
oh, okay, cool.
What do you think your relationship will turn into? I'm mostly referring to the fact that Crew T is going to be leaving.
She is. She's leaving me to go to nursing school.
So how do you think that will affect your relationship?
I feel like it's
I'm
gonna
not
affect
sure.
it a little bit.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
But-
going to be positive or negative though, because during the summer, because we don't see each other, we usually don't talk as much. So I don't know if it's going to be like that, or if because we're so used to spending most of our years together because of high school and college, the first few years, that we'll like text each other more or call each other more because we're used to it. I'm really not. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I feel like we're gonna text each other and do like Skype or something, but not as often.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna miss you.
Oh,
A lot.
I miss you too.
I know. I've known you since 4 years. It's about to be 5.
Don't you feel old?
Yeah.
Is that a gray hair I see?
Huh?
Is that a gray hair?
What? I just dyed it yesterday.
Out of this whole interview, I feel like this is the only assumption that I can't 100% prove because I don't know how the relationship will turn out once Kruti moves to Round Rock. Well, I can't 100% prove that how this relationship will turn out, but we can start making some assumptions. I assume that once Kruti is not Ashlyn's roommate anymore, they will become less close because they won't be living together. They won't see each other all the time. Kruti will also be moving away, so I assume that she'll make a new set of friends once she gets there. I assume Ashlyn will start becoming better friends with the people here. So we can assume that while they may still be friends, even at a distance, they won't be as close as they are now, just because of the distance that they're putting between each other. But I wish the best for these ladies. I wish them both the bright futures and that they still keep a relationship, because this is a very helpful, supporting relationship that these girls have. The next questions I'm going to ask are to see if self-disclosure is at the heart of the relationship. I'm going to ask them about their self-disclosure with each other and if there are still things that they're just not telling each other.
Have you guys told each other secrets? Like kind of things in your past that you really don't tell many people?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a lot, a little bit, occasionally.
I feel like Kruti tells me more than I tell
Yes.
her. For
I
sure.
tell her more things than she.
Yeah.
Yeah. She like hardly talks to me about her, secrets or past life or whatever. I usually just like this and this and just like okay, help me out or whatever. Oh, you need to know this and something.
Okay. Are there still things that you're keeping from each other, like secret-wise, of things like I really shouldn't tell her this kind of things?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't tell. There's not a single person that I tell them everything
Yeah.
because I don't know. I just don't. So.
Would you say maybe Kruti right now or Ashlyn is the person who knows the most, but maybe besides your family?
She's not the one who knows the most, but she's one of the people who knows the most.
Yeah,
Like she's
I agree
up
with
there,
that.
but she's not the one who does know more
Okay.
than other people.
Because I would say like my sister, she knows more about me, but I would say Ashlyn would be the second person.
Okay.
But then again, some of the things my sister doesn't know that she knows, so.
Okay.
Ooh.
Don't you feel special?
I know.
So while these two ladies may not be each other's number one source of self-disclosure, they are pretty high up on the list. There's some things I don't even know about these ladies, and that's only because I've been friends with them for about a year and a half. These ladies have been friends for a lot longer than I have been with them. But they both self-disclose each other. They tell each other their secrets, some things that have been bothering them, maybe from their past, I don't know. But I believe them. I believe that they both talk to each other and they both self-disclose each other. They tell each other things that they wouldn't just tell any other person, that they really do trust each other, and they trusting each other with keeping the secret, or maybe they're giving it to persons for maybe they can have feedback and that can help them. I don't know what these two ladies talk about when they're together. But I can tell you that self-disclosure makes them more intimate, that makes them together. Knowing the personal life of someone else, how can you not be close after someone shares that with you? That just makes sense in my mind. Since these two ladies can tell each other how they're feeling and the things about themselves that they don't normally tell each other, I believe that takes a level of relationship and that these ladies are at it. Next couple of questions we'll be talking about the breadth and depth that we talked about, and that's kind of the onion metaphor.
Do you guys feel like you can talk to each other about basically anything?
I feel
Yeah, I
yeah.
do.
Are there any topics that you try to avoid? Maybe that that are sensitive topics or things that could bring up some emotional issues or something?
I feel like she would do that to me because she knows some things. So I definitely feel like she would like hold some topics and not talk about it. But I over here would just blur out things. That's because I don't think before I say.
Well, with me, I mean, we've talked about some things that are like rough topics, but it's mostly I won't just bring them up, but if she brings them up, then I'll like talk
Okay.
about it. So it's not that I don't mind talking about them, but it's just I don't want to bring them up if she's not comfortable talking about it at the time. So if she mentions it, then I know, oh, it's okay to talk about it, and then kind of talk about it. I'm not good at gauging if it's like,
She doesn't initiate
if
the
she's,
conversation.
yeah, I don't know if she's comfortable. So it just depends on whatever she says, then, oh, then she's comfortable with that. Okay.
And then you'll talk about it then?
Yeah,
Okay. Same?
she's the boss.
I'm the man of this relationship.
Well, I'm wearing pants too.
So you feel like you can talk to Ashlyn about anything?
I feel like that.
That's good. Yay. How well do you guys know each other personally? It's kind of like if I took you into separate rooms and asked you questions about each other, could you fairly accurately know each other?
I think so.
I feel like for certain things I would know,
Yeah.
and then other things I'll be like, oh, well, she likes this and this and this, but I don't know specific which one's her favorite. Like you asked me, like her favorite movie, I'm like, ooh, or favorite Disney song. I can't.
There's a lot, but if she
I can
asked
tell.
my favorite animal, you would know that one.
Ah, snake.
That's
Just
her
kidding.
favorite animal.
Elephant.
I love elephants.
And
So
characteristic
things like
wise, you guys know each other pretty well. You can kind of guess, oh, like Ashlyn's could feel this way, or she feels that way, or vice versa.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We it's generally easy to figure out how each other's feeling. Like this week, I was able to tell when she was excited, and then when she was upset. It was pretty easy to tell.
And I was able to tell when she's tired.
Cause she got excited when I got tired.
Yes. I was like, you're tired. What's wrong?
These ladies do have breadth and depth. Using the onion metaphor, they said they can talk to each other about any topic. So that is the breadth. That's the whole outside layer of the onion. You can talk about literally anything with them, and it's an okay topic to talk about. And then there's depth. That's how deep they go. And I feel like if these ladies hit a topic that would lead to some depth, that they would feel comfortable with each other to talk about it and be open with each other. So these ladies confirm the onion theory, that they can talk about anything, all this breadth, and they can get depth too. The next questions I'm going to ask about relationship development. Right off the bat, we know they're not at orientation. They're roommates and they're good friends. We can also be pretty sure that they are at least at or past the exploratory stage. They're good friends, they live together, they self-disclose to each other. So I can pretty much confirm that they are at the exploratory stage or even further than that. The questions I'm going to ask are focused towards the effective exchange relationship and the stable relationship to kind of see if they're at either one of those.
Do you have any fears that you could say or do something that could end the relationship? Like, is there like this one thing that like, oh, I can't tell Coochie this, or I can't do this thing to Ashlyn because that will end the relationship?
Well,
Do you have fears of your
I
relationship
wouldn't
ending?
want to do to her or whatever.
I
I mean,
to me.
to anyone. I mean, because I was thinking about killing, but no.
I don't think she
Anyone.
means that.
Things personally. Like, I feel like I can't do this around you because you might be creeped out or weirded out.
See, I told you I don't think we're poison.
I don't think so. Just because I feel really comfortable.
So do I.
I mean, if she's gonna get weirded out by me and end the relationship, it would have happened already. So,
Like, okay, she always says that whenever she's talking about government and politics, she likes to give opinions
I
about
love
that.
history.
She has a
and
lot
I'm very
of opinions about
opinionated.
it. And she thinks that I'm not interested, and I'm just like, okay, I know, Chrissy
Because
doesn't
she's
care
nice.
or whatever. Thanks.
Because
But
she's nice, and I go off. She asked me one question about World War One, and I answered it and started talking about World War II, and then we started talking about the Patriot Act, and it just went on from there. And I don't know how we got from World War II to the Patriot Act, but we did. And so I realized I was talking about it, and she probably didn't care because I went off on this whole lecture about it.
okay, so it was funny because I was studying and I asked her about it, and I looked at on my phone the time, and then after she was done talking, went back. It was 45 minutes.
It wasn't that
It was
long.
45 minutes. It was 45 minutes.
I don't know if I believe you.
But I didn't stop her, so it's my fault also. it was really interesting.
It was her fault.
Really
because I
interesting.
told her, if you want me to stop, just stop me, but she's too nice.
No,
and that's why
I'm
she
like
did.
big about knowledge or something, and I just hear her talk about these things. I'm just like, ooh, knowledge! Like, dude, just keep talking. It's so interesting. So I wanted
think
to
it's
listen to you.
interesting because
I
I
thought it
love
was
history.
interesting. I was listening to her. She thinks it's not interesting.
But
well, she thinks
just
I think that it's
because
not interesting.
She doesn't
but
love
I think
history
it's interesting.
as much as I
Interesting.
do.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
yeah.
So you're guys pretty comfortable around each other. You don't feel like your relationship will end because you're doing something wrong.
I don't think so. I mean, we're pretty. If there's something that's bothering us, we can tell each other and not get offended. So,
She doesn't get
I
offended.
think it's okay. You don't get offended either,
Don't tell
or
me.
do you?
I don't. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Do you guys ever have miscommunication or misinterpreting of messages?
I do that.
I was about to say I do that all the time because my hearing is bad.
Oh.
So I always think she says something completely different from what she really says, but I always clarify because I'm usually confused.
No, but I don't blame you because sometimes I say things and I don't think like how it comes out. So I'm like, oh wait, I did not mean it that way. I actually like my use of word is not specific.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm over here like, you know how bad that is. Like I use words that aren't exact. So I'm over here like saying things that I shouldn't say. I'm just like, wait, I did not mean it that way. I did not mean it that way. And she knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I've gotten better to where I can figure out what she means, and I'll
Yeah.
ask her if she means that, and she goes, yeah. So it makes me feel good because it's
She's
like,
an English major. She knows how to put it better.
guess what Kruti means? It's fun.
Do you ever misinterpret each other? Like, oh, you're in a bad mood? No, I'm in a great mood. Or
We
things like that.
We tend to, sometimes we ask each other if we're like quiet and like thinking about stuff, what's wrong? Or me, I always ask her, what are you thinking about?
Every time. Every
She's
time. Like I was
there.
just staring out, thinking something. She's like, what you thinking about? And I would just like start my thought process and just like, okay, that's what I need to do. And I'm just like, not even halfway done. It's like just beginning. She's like, what you thinking about? I'm like, let me think about it first and then I'll let you know.
Because every time we're studying and I look at her, she's staring off into space. She's never looking at what she's studying. So that's why I'm always like, why are you gazing off into the distance?
Always
I
do
don't
that.
understand.
And I make weird faces. I really make weird faces when I'm thinking. And I feel like I scare people and I apologize to all of
I
them.
make weird faces too, but it's for
No.
fun.
Yeah, you do it on purpose. Mine just happens.
But yeah, I don't think it's any like serious misinterpretation. It's
Yeah.
usually just sometimes we check to make sure they're okay. Like, are you having a bad day? And then no, I'm fine. And then it's like, okay, I just want to make sure you're good.
And sometimes this would happen. It's like we would ask, "Are you okay?" And the other person would say yes, and this person would know that that's
they're
not,
lying.
They're lying, but they wouldn't. They would just like, okay. Don't want to talk about it, so that's fine.
Yeah, but just as long as you're like, oh yeah, you're lying, but it's okay, we don't have to talk about it. But you know that they're having a bad day, so
We just know things before we have to say it.
we're smart. I'm just kidding.
We can talk in our head. What is that thing called? Tele.
Telepathy,
There you go. That's the word.
telekinesis, one of those. Anyways.
My assumption is that these two ladies are the effective exchange. The relationship's not going to break up based on what each other do or say to each other. I feel like the only reason the relationship would break up is because of that distance that they're going to put between each other next fall. But they're not the stable relationship. They said that they do have miscommunications. They can sometimes misinterpret each other and not know how to deal with those situations. So I feel like they're not in a stable relationship, but they are definitely at the exploratory effective relationship. So I would comfortably put them at the effective exchange relationship. That they don't have fears of ending the relationship, they can do or say anything, and they're not afraid of the other person leaving. So we saw throughout this interview the 4 assumptions and the relationship development stages. We also saw things about the breadth and depth, that's the onion theory. And I think that having this interview, you got to see the parts of the theory and see how they actually are related to life. And maybe even they're related to some relationships that you have. This would be fun to maybe sit down with a friend, ask some of these questions, or maybe just think about them yourself and try to categorize your friends and know what kind of stage of relationship you're in. And maybe you could also think about the onion and how much breadth and depth and topics you can talk about. And also maybe you can think about some of the assumptions and how those can relate to your own personal life. If you notice something that I didn't catch, or you see something that you'd like me to talk about, please leave it in the comments below and I'll address it. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the social penetration theory. Stay tuned the next time for my creative journal where I'll explore another theory with new friends. Thank you very much for watching.
That's it.
Awesome.
Anything else you want to say about each other?
I love you.
Oh, I love you too. And I love you, Erin.
Oh, babe.
Have me back.